What is going on, guys? It is Cabal Culture Smasher. Welcome back to the channel. And today's video, well, you guys have probably already seen it if you've been paying attention to the pop culture sphere already. Marvel has just released the teaser trailer, or in this case, the casting announcement for the new Avengers Doomsday film. And essentially, as you guys could see, we have everybody, pretty much everybody. We have the Avengers, we have the Fantastic Four, we got the Thunderbolts, and we have the X-Men all in this movie, all at the same time. Guys, I gotta tell you right now, there's a lot of concern surrounding that many names. When you announce that many characters in one movie, it's not gonna work. Like, it's highly unlikely. I'd say about an 80% chance that this movie totally falls apart. I did notice, however, we are missing a few heavy hitters, right? There is no Spider-Man in this movie, probably because of Sony rights. And there's no Doctor Strange in this movie, and there is no Wanda. There's no Scarlet Witch in this movie because of her ending at the end of Multiverse of Madness, which I'm pretty sure she's not dead, but anyway, I don't know if she'll be in this or not. We'll see. I did also notice that, unfortunately, Marvel has learned seemingly the best lessons and the worst lessons from their track of failure across their films these last few years. For instance, why is Shang-Chi back in this movie? Why is Simu Liu, who attacks the fans and calls them racist, why is he back in this movie? Why is Shuri Black Panther, female Black Panther, back in this movie? Why hasn't Black Panther either just been thrown to the wayside, pretend like they don't even exist, or why hasn't Black Panther been recast? Either one of those things would have been better than making Shuri Black Panther. Why is Namor back in this movie? See, they're taking like the best parts of it, right? They got the X-Men and the Fantastic Four in this. That's all cool. That sounds really cool. But then they also got the worst elements like Black Panther and like that stuff that just never worked. However, there is no Captain Marvel in this movie. That's one thing I noticed for sure. There's essentially no references to the Marvels at all. At all. So that's a good sign. Unfortunately, Marvel was not able to do the same for the terrible Black Panther sequel that nobody watched. Seriously, if you have to acknowledge Black Panther, just recast him. Stop trying to make a woman usurp a man's title. It's not working. Nobody watched that movie. The fact that they're bringing back Namor of all people in this movie is absolutely ridiculous. I hope we don't see him flirting with Sue Storm, because that's just going to be absolutely embarrassing with his friggin' nose septum ring or whatever it is. And yet somehow, I will admit, this thing got me excited. I know, maybe it's fool's gold, maybe it's like a gambler hoping to get a flush on his next roll, even though he's just been losing thousands of dollars a night and he has a serious alcohol and gambling addiction. But guys, I don't know why I'm excited. I'll tell you now, I'm excited I don't know why I'm excited, because I know that when I go in, I'm probably going to get burned. I know this movie's probably going to end up being terrible, and yet I want to see what they do with this. Not really sure why. This thing, like I said, has the potential to be massive, even if it's not a good movie. At least I think opening weekend for this will be absolutely huge, right? Like, we have been waiting to see the X-Men enter the MCU for so long now. We got a little bit of a taste of that with Deadpool and Wolverine, but that wasn't really a Marvel film per se. That was just really a Ryan Reynolds and 20th Century Fox movie. This is the first time the X-Men will be getting a proper introduction into the MCU. I don't count Patrick Stewart getting murked by Elizabeth Olsen as proper adaptation of the X-Men. But I did notice one thing. Elizabeth Olsen's not in this movie, since her character supposedly died at the end of, what was it, Multiverse of Madness. And that's sad. I wanted to see how she'd play into this dynamic, especially with Magneto coming back. I've wanted to see Magneto talk to his children in the MCU for so long. I always thought it was a huge missed opportunity that Magneto was not introduced at the end of WandaVision. If I was to rewrite that entire show, I would have rewritten the last episode, which just totally fell apart.
They'll never know what you sacrificed for them.
And what I would do is I would have Magneto show up, right? I would have him tell basically Wanda, I am your father, come with me. and that he would take her under his wing, and that's how you introduce the X-Men. That would have felt so much more organic, so much more like setup and payoff, so much more realistic for that character, for Magneto, maybe Fassbender to show up and take Elizabeth Olsen under his wing. But we didn't get that, right? They wasted that opportunity they had to make a perfect setup. So now we're just going to get like this hodgepodge of filmmaking with this movie, and that's how they're going to bring in the X-Men. Although I will tell you this, at least they brought back Kelsey Grammer. I was genuinely surprised to see that announcement, right? Because Kelsey Grammer is an open Trump supporter. So besides Tim Allen, I think Kelsey Grammer is the only open Trump supporter that still has a job in Hollywood. The fact that they brought him back is genuinely surprising to me. We'll see what they do with his character. But yeah, the X-Men, I'm excited to see them come back. I'm excited to see James Marsden come back as Cyclops. I just don't think it's going to be that good, and yet I'm still excited. It's weird. I've never felt this way about a movie before. I've never felt so strongly that I'm so excited about something, but at the same time, knowing it's probably not going to be good. It's like this weird feeling where like my mind is betraying my actual feelings. My genuine feelings are, I know this is probably not going to be good, but my mind is telling me, hold on, this thing could actually be awesome, even though it probably won't be. So at most, this movie is going to be like, it's just going to be like a kid playing with his action figures. It's not going to make any sense. I don't expect the plot of this movie to make any sense, especially with Doctor Doom being played by Robert Downey Jr. I don't expect any of this to make any sense whatsoever. I just expect to go in there and turn my mind off. But I will tell you guys this, I'll definitely be watching this movie, right? I have not wanted to see a Marvel film in so long. The last one I saw was Deadpool and Wolverine. Ever since Endgame finished, I think the only Marvel films I have seen were the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, especially No Way Home, and Deadpool and Wolverine. That was it. I have not seen any other Marvel films. I will be probably seeing Thunderbolts to review on the channel. Maybe. We'll see. But I'm definitely going to watch Fantastic Four to see how that turns out. And then we will see how it all somehow molds into Avengers Doomsday. It seems like the Fantastic Four are going to be the heavy hitters of this side. Since the main Avengers lineup is now gone, I think the Fantastic Four will be your main team of this movie. And then I think the X-Men and the Avengers will kind of be like secondary characters. Kind of like how the Guardians of the Galaxy were secondary characters to the main Avengers cast in Infinity War. But how are they going to work in the X-Men, right? Because there's been no setup this entire time. I'm sure it's going to be a multiverse thing like as usual. But they haven't really established that at all. There's been no real setup for bringing the X-Men into this. That's why, like I said, it would have been so much better if they done it like right after Endgame. And that, for me, I think was the biggest missed opportunity with Marvel, right? What they should have done was, after Endgame, knowing that the main Avengers have more or less moved on, they should have put MCU on a shelf. Just let it sit for a couple of years. Let it sit through the pandemic. Don't make any Marvel projects during the pandemic. And then what I would have done was that as soon as Marvel started relaunching post-pandemic, immediately, right out the gate, bam, Fantastic Four, bam, X-Men. You do that right out of the gate after Endgame. That's what would have been the smart thing to do. Instead, Kevin Feige and his woke ass gave us Captain Marvel, Shang-Chi, who unfortunately is in this movie, and the Eternals. You gave us the Marvels before you gave us the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. So when I see this announcement that the Fantastic Four and the X-Men are in this movie, that's cool. It's just that it's obvious that this is a panic by Marvel to try to course correct. And unfortunately for them, I don't think it's going to pay off. I think initially this will be a huge opening box office weekend. I don't actually expect this movie to do really, really well as far as a critical standpoint. Maybe financially it'll do well because people want to see what happens with all these characters. But I don't think people are actually going to like this movie. And so, we'll see how it goes. For some reason, I feel excited. I don't know why. I have no reason to feel excited. And yet they got me. So I'm kind of like an idiot. I'm kind of like that guy cheering for his baseball team that fails year after year and hoping that they make it to the World Series. So, we'll see how this thing goes. But for now, I'm just going to try to keep an open mind. Probably going to be burnt yet again. I expect to be disappointed yet again. But honestly, this movie has all these red flags, but at the same time is looking amazing. I don't know how else to describe it. It makes no sense why I feel excited for this thing whatsoever. So we will see. But anyway, guys, that was the video. If you liked this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel. I make content at least 2 to 3 times a week. and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much, guys.